Be consistent. Be inconsistent. What does it really matter? Even a small amount of inconsistency can have dramatic effects on you and your team. Check this out. Just lead. Often a roadblock to great leadership, particularly for new leaders, is consistency. You being consistent has massive implications for the output and performance of your team. Further to this, it impacts the way that your boss and your peers interact with you. Let's think on the benefits for yourself first with consistency. Being consistent will help you unlock your ability to grow and develop into a great leader. Many of us have tried to get fitter, lose a bit of weight. What we get told when we go through that journey is that consistency with diet and exercise is the only way that we'll attain our goals. Much like with leadership, consistency in performing leadership will help you grow and develop into that great leader you're destined to become. The impacts of inconsistency are well documented, and they severely impact your ability to effectively lead your team. Your inconsistency can show up in several ways through your behaviors, your decision making, your actions, and your messaging. Inconsistent behavior will lead your team to be unsure of what to expect with an interaction from you. Are you a hothead that's likely to blow up over minor inconsistencies? Are you flippant over some concerns but then take others far too seriously? With inconsistent behaviors, you will start to erode the trust that you had developed with your team. Inconsistent decision making is a real team killer. Are you handing out disciplinary actions to some people but then not to others? Do you come in hard and fast on what seem to be minor rule breaches but then allow incompetent people to retain their job? This inconsistent decision making will lead to your team wanting to go over your head. You will start to see more and more frequently your employees talking to your boss and asking for their advice rather than coming to you like they should. Inconsistent actions will lead to big performance impacts to your team. Perhaps your work has a paperless policy and you don't seem to be able to keep your desk all that paperless. How likely is your team to adopt that policy if their boss can't do it themselves? Being consistent in what you are seen to do will have a huge positive impact for your team. Inconsistent messaging is when you are flip-flopping between the messages you're getting across to your team, or perhaps you're telling your team something but then get caught saying the opposite behind their backs. This can often happen when a company is bringing in policy changes thick and fast, and you as the leader that needs to implement those changes find it difficult to keep up with them and find it difficult to understand whether the previous message is consistent with the new message. Leaves your team wondering what message they're meant to follow. To ensure that your messaging is consistent, you need to first look at that new message that you need to send out to your team. Is it consistent with the vision that you have for your team? If it's not, perhaps it's time to start asking a few more questions and get a bit more detail on the messaging that needs to be delivered. If you are inconsistent with your messaging, your team is less likely to listen to what you're saying and follow the instructions that you are giving them. If you've been getting anything at all out of this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, press the like button, leave a comment down below. And finally, if you're out there and looking for advice and coaching and help, I am available, and you can click on the Patreon link down below to get access to all my membership packs there, in which I can provide feedback and coaching one-on-one for you and you specifically. With inconsistency being such a roadblock to great leadership, how do you become more consistent? First, you need to find your own style of leadership. If you're copying someone that appears to be a great leader to you, you will find it hard to be consistent within that style because it's not you. I found for myself that once I stopped copying others around me and was able to be more myself and bring myself to my leadership roles, I was able to relax more, and with that relaxation became a greater ability to be more consistent day to day. You need to communicate clearly and often with your team. You need to be open to answering questions about new policies and answering them honestly. You need to be seen to be out and about and practicing what you preach. Please be honest when it goes wrong. If you react poorly to a new initiative, or you don't get a task done by the deadline that you said you would, be honest about it. Being honest with your team about your shortcomings has the power to unlock a trust that can go a long way. And you need to breathe. Sometimes things aren't going to go your way and it can get overwhelming at times, and you need to just breathe through those situations. My boss once gave me an initiative that I was not happy with. I was really unhappy with. So what did I do? I went to the car, I sat in silence out in the car park and got my frustrations out. I was able then to return to my team and be more level-headed about my approach with the way I was delivering the message. Just breathe. Being consistent is just one component of what it takes to become a great leader. Honesty is probably the greatest character trait that you need to get there. Click here to see what I mean.